Greetings, Patrick here, 8 Questions with. Um, Welcome to a cold and chilly southeastern Michigan night. Woke up today to watch the snow falling to the ground. And then in the afternoon, it all disappeared.
Oh, hi.
Hi, and we are welcoming our special co-host tonight. Grace Julianna is here. Hey, Darian, how are you, sir? Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Um, yes. How are you, Grace?
I'm doing good. So happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
This is a first for me. I have never had an artist come with me to do a co-host like this, so I'm very excited to see where it goes. Um,
I
and
know of Joe because of the Shockfest Film Festival, so it would be good to continue speaking with him and hearing about all of his endeavors, of course.
I told him today, when we were getting ready for the show, I pinged him and I said, man, I don't really have no excuse, none at all, for not having him on this show way before now. I was actually rather ashamed of it because when a friend of ours, a bunch of our friends, we started the show called the Midnight Hour about 3 years ago, and Joe was one of our very first guests,
Oh,
and and we put Joe through the ringer. We did. We put him through the ringer a little bit, and he's so gracious and kind. He answered every question that we had, and we talked, and it was such a great show, and I really respect him. And it's just one of those things where it's like I see him post and everything. And I was just like I always saw it, but it never thought, and it just really never got to me. Like, hey, dude, you're missing out here. You had a great guest. You got to go have him on the show again.
but
And
I'm going to follow you because it's your show. I'm going to follow you in your questions.
it is our show today. We are already live. We are talking. Joe will be here with us today in about 10 minutes or so. We will be hitting the ground running because we have him for an hour. And this is part of the trickiness of running a show like this, or in his case, running a studio like this, is
Right.
that he told us that he got called into a meeting, and when you're a filmmaker, that's one of those things that you get a lot of,
That's
and
fine.
he'll be. Hmm. Um, what it's now. Have you ever interviewed, or have you ever talked to a director in this sort of setting before? Have you like? I mean, they've been on panels at different conventions, and you raise your hand and ask a question, or ever interviewed a director off camera per se.
Yes, but not like this. Not virtually like this. This is a first. So,
Uh, I was thinking the same. I was thinking the same thing. Our friend says Grace seems very nice. She looks cozy with her hot tea. You look absolutely at home doing this.
thank
Yeah.
you, and that is so kind.
Uh, yeah, because most times people always say, "Well, I get a little nervous. I get a little." Why? You're just talking to a peer. That's all. It's
Yeah,
no biggie.
self.
And,
Patrick,
and
wondering, do you give out like our social? Yes, you do. You give out our social media after or during this interview?
yes, yes,
Okay.
we will be giving our that, and then afterwards, what I do is I go back down below and I put down everybody's social media. So it'll be Joe's media. It'll
Right.
be a link to our first interview that we did with Joe a couple of years ago,
Oh,
and
wow.
it'll be your information and our interview as well. It all will go down in the description, so people will come by and they'll be able to connect with you both.
Cool.
Yes. Social media. I mean, it's like social media, this is a lot of fun doing something like this. Like I said, had it done. I've never done it before. And which is really funny because we're going to be doing a watch party this Saturday with film director Joe Cornette, and we're going to be sitting there and watching his movie, gunfight at Rio Bravo, and
What's
he's going to be here with one of his leading ladies and his composer, and
what's
we're
his
going
name?
to watch Joe Cornette.
Joe?
Uh-huh. Joe
Joe,
Joe Joe Cornette.
the director?
Yes, and he co-stars in the movie.
I want to look him up.
He's very cool. It's a
Joe.
cool movie. Yes. Let's see. I just interviewed him not that long ago, one on one, and then I interviewed him with his producing partner, Alexander Nevsky,
Uh-huh.
and then I also interviewed one of the leading ladies from their horror film Night of the Caregiver, Natalie Denise Burrell.
Oh. Okay. Joe Cornette. I'm
Yeah.
looking at movies.
It, it, if you look at my on my wall, my here, let me see if I'll put it in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I never done that before, but it's gonna be like a director's commentary live.
That is so cool. I want to hear that.
Let me go grab Joe here. I will slide that into the actually I will slide that to you over in Facebook as well.
Yes, thank you.
There's that, and then I'll slide it into the on the wall here.
Excellent. Thanks.
Yeah, so you guys all can go over there, hit the notification bell, and then come over and hang out with Joe and Joe and I, and we're gonna be watching a western because we love western movies. So the first time we got to talk, we talked about Night of the Caregiver. That was their very first horror film, and it did really well for them. And then I actually met Joe. I had already watched Gunfight at Rio Bravo,
Uh-huh.
and then I got asked to interview him, and I was
Uh,
like, oh, hell yeah, a chance, I said, hell yeah, I want to. And I mean, you go watch that interview with him and Joe and Alexander, two of the nicest people on the planet. Seriously, they do it right. Nothing but respect and kindness and drive. It's really fun to see. And then Joe came out there. Him and I talked. We just talked westerns, and they said, well, because they're making a trilogy. That's what
wow.
they're hoping to do. They're hoping to make a trilogy, a western trilogy, which is interesting because Joe himself. I mean, we heard about the MCU and we know about the multiverses. So, the Spider-Man and the multiverses and the Avengers and the multi. Joe was doing that before they were.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll have to ask him when he gets here, but I do believe just about everything he has done has connections to his other films. It
Okay.
could be, like he was commenting on, Immortal Wars. And, he says, if you go look at Mortal Wars, if you go look at the news on the, like underneath, you see the little trailer underneath our names, see how it's scrolling across.
Where?
Look down. It says right underneath your name. Do you see it scrolling?
Yes.
Joe he put a scrolling in the Immortal Wars. He put a scrolling on one of the TVs, and it was talking about his other movie, Rust, the character Billy in Rust, and he connected the universes there.
Uh-huh.
And so it's very fun it's very ambitious. And so I mean, he's got brand new films coming out with that going on. He's got Immortal Wars, DK's Paradox. He's got Rust 3 coming out.
I'm looking at DK's Paradox because my friend is in that movie. That's what I want to talk about with Joe. My
Oh,
friend, Matt Rossfiley, who I work with at Shockfest Film Festival, is in it.
right.
And I want to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the guys who I got to interview, which I didn't know this either, man, Joe's got his fingers in everything. So we interviewed a young talented actor named Tyler Gallant, and
Uh-huh.
he was we were talking about his movie that he did called Space Wars, and him and I were talking, and next, he's saying, like, I asked him, I said, what was the worst injury you ever got on a set? And he's saying, well, I was in this movie called Obscura. And well, he says, he goes, that's the Joe Lujan movie. He goes, yes. I'm going like, holy crow, Joe is everywhere. Um, yeah, how much fun is that? He has a really good eye for talent.
That's awesome. That's why I want to get to know him.
Oh,
But
no doubt, no doubt. I do too. I mean, I'm eager to get back into seeing how he has managed to, when I meet someone like Joe, who's that talented. My biggest question to them is like, how do you balance? Because you got all these different movies, and it'd be one thing if it was just different movies and it's like standalone stories.
right.
But it's not standalone. They're all connected. To me, that means it's more work, because you have to establish a connection from one movie to the next to the future. Because you're not only doing the movie that you're doing in the future, but you got to think about what you're doing in the future. The future is in the future. Whatever, if something happens in Rust 3, how does that affect something in My Little Nightmare? And if My Little Nightmare is, how does My Little Nightmare connected Immortal Wars? Of course, it might not, but we'll ask them. And then to me, it's like you have to when you do your screenwriting, you have to be cognizant of that and make sure that there's connections. Instead of just writing a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, you're basically open-ended writing. You're picking up a story and you're continuing it, but you're not ending it. You're just passing it along. That's hard.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever done your stuff? Have you ever done a project that had a sequel to it, or was it considered a prequel?
I just finished a gangster movie that the director originally filmed it as a short, and now he expanded the story as a feature.
That's hard too.
He expanded it as a feature. I don't want to say it's a sequel. I think it's more like an add-on to the original short,
Yeah.
similar. And we just finished that, and he does want to film a sequel that's just about my character. So that's going to be pretty dope. I,
Now, I do believe that's exactly what Joe did with Rust.
oh,
I think, yeah, Rust was a short film as well, but he shot another. He went out and shot more of it and then combined it together to make a feature film out of it. That's
I see
hard.
a lot of filmmakers do that.
Yeah, but
They
they
get,
don't do it well.
they don't do it well.
I mean, a lot of them, it's hard. I mean, you can definitely see, like I tell you, the movie I really am high on. There's a movie called I'm Haunted. It came out on Higher University Pictures, right? Brandon Rhines directed it, and it starred Elizabeth Chamberlain. Oh my gosh, Grace, that movie is bonkers. It's bonkers,
I need to,
and it was a series of 122 webisodes, but they put it together in one movie. I challenge you to find out where they made the cuts at. You can't. It's
what,
seamless. It's called I'm Haunted. Hey, Anthony, how are you, sir?
hello, Anthony.
It's
Hello.
seamless.
I said I'm haunted 2022.
Oh, it's so cool. That movie is it's a really good it's really good. It's just basically just Elizabeth Chamberlain. You know how it is. The movie was just one primary, just a cast of one, and they have to carry the whole movie. It's like she's talking to the camera, but they made 122 episodes of that, and then they edited it down to just a feature length film. I didn't know that. I did not even. I didn't when I watched the movie. I thought it was just one. I thought it was just a regular movie. I thought they got out there, set it, shot it, but it was a web series, and so they went ahead and they edited it, and it's seamless. It's like you don't know where you don't know where the pieces were. I mean, you get an idea, sure, you get an idea by the different like you'll see Elizabeth here talking, and the next time you see her, she might be talking about something else. But overall, the editing of the movie was really flawless. And but that's really hard because I've seen some experienced directors who try to do that or have done that, and it comes off of really blocky and choppy. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do, to take a short and not start brand new. We're not talking like, okay, I'm gonna start from ground up. We're talking like they've taken the movie that they've already made, and they build from that. Like, okay, here's 40 minutes right here, or 30 minutes. We're gonna film from this movie that we made, and we're just gonna add on to it like a Lego block.
I could watch it on Tubi.
Yes.
I'm going to. I love
Yeah.
Tubi.
Oh yeah, Tubi is fantastic. And that's the other thing too, that we can definitely talk to Joe about. Um, I have a lot of fun with talking to him about, because him being not only a director but also a studio owner.
Right.
He distributing now is really, that's really starting to become a really a powerful name. Like a powerful thing to filmmakers. It's like, because the old physical media is, it sounds like we're talking it to death here. I know when people come listen to me talk, but it is what it is, and it's harder and harder to see physical media releases.
It is hard,
Mm.
and I think filmmakers in general, they need to have the most connections, because once they have connections to like one streaming channel, I feel like all the streaming channels are going to want their movie.
You would think, and that's really what's important now. It's like, everybody's watching Tubi because, Tubi has been the independent filmmaker's friend for the last couple of years,
And it's free,
and it's free.
and have good content. And Tubi just started creating their own shows and
Yeah.
movies, originals. I think that's amazing. And I think they need to
Well,
keep
I
because
I hope they continue to do that, but
right.
not at the expense of other indies.
Right. I
You
hope
know?
if they continue to create their own projects, that doesn't deter them away from taking on independent movies. I don't think so. I mean, of course, I don't work there. I wouldn't know uh, the numbers of what they want to put out there on a weekly basis. But I think if they want to establish themselves more, doing their own original content is great. And I'm saying that the production I just finished, the gangster movie, it the goal, it will be on Tubi. I don't want to say too much, but Tubi is the goal. And after that, maybe Tubi would want its own original project from us. So we'll see. But I'm totally down for that. And years ago, people were making fun of Tubi because it was only independent movies. Maybe they weren't the best, and Tubi was free. People still make fun of Tubi, but they can make fun all they want, because I think Tubi is growing
Yeah.
because they are friendly with independent filmmakers. And because of the independent filmmakers, I think they're able to have the resources to make their own original content.
I think what's really cool is that they're able to, because they're able to do that. They're able to go ahead and like you said, they're able to go ahead and find these movies. It looks like it looks like sort of the movies that they're getting. The vibe I'm getting from them is, they seem to be doing like a little bit more edgier type of thrillers, sort of like we see on Lifetime. The Lifetime movies, and with a slight more edge, and that's all right. I know that Spider Dabrowski has written a couple of movies that have made it, that were for Tubi. Tubi asked him to make the movies for him, to write a script, and he did that. Um, and you're right. There's more people there's more and more original content coming out.
Yeah.
I just and Our good buddy MK mentions, he says, "I'm waiting for Tubi to change though, charge. I feel like it's just a matter of time." He hopes that he's wrong. I hope so too.
Wrong.
Um,
I've thought about that. I think if Tubi does eventually start charging, it's going to be free. Not free. It's going to be cheap, like talking like $5 a month. Hopefully, they do have commercials, but I mean, I don't want to think about that because I think that's what makes Tubi so good is that it is free.
Yeah, that's the whole hook. The whole hook is that they're free. They're free, and you can watch, thing is though, I mean, yes, you can watch it with commercials, and yeah, it does seem to be a little bit more commercials than normal. But you know what? People are okay with that. They're not so far removed from, or even some now that are watching, linear TV, the networks. They have commercials on the networks. They don't care. They don't care about watching a commercial on CBS. They're not paying for it. I think it's when the service charges, when it's like a Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu, when they start charging for commercials, which is the main reason why people say, why did you get streaming services? Why did you get rid of regular TV? Because I don't want to watch the ads. And then you come back there, now you're paying $25, and guess what? You're watching ads.
They
You
didn't
know.
know have ads. Now they do, like Hulu. Yeah.
Mhm. Hello, Echo. Mr. Bones is in the house. Hey, Mr. Bones. And Mr. Dan and Horror in the house. Joe will be here with us shortly. I know that he is running pell mell. He's got production meetings coming up. He's got a ton of stuff going on. So, but this is if you don't know my co-host, I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell you guys a little about herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace Julianna. Patrick interviewed me like a month ago, pardon me. And I'm an actress. And I think Patrick recognized me through Shockfest Film Festival. But you recognized me or found me through a friend. Steven.
Uh, yeah, through Steven Chang.
Steven knows me through Shockfest Film Festival. I am a host for them. And my favorite genre of movie is horror. But I'll do any genre as an actress, but I love horror. I want to be a scream queen. Currently I have a gangster movie coming out, going to film the sequel to the gangster movie. The gangster movie that I just finished, it's in post. We're going to film the sequel later this year. And I'm looking forward to that. A few other projects, but I don't want to mention too much. But yeah, so I'm an actress and I'm just hanging out with my friend Patrick. And I'm so grateful to be here today to interview and talk to Joe Lujan because he is a very prolific director in the independent horror
Yeah,
world.
I'm just so. It always, like I said, I mean, the main thing for me when Joe gets here, I just can't imagine how he balances everything he's got going. It's got
Yeah,
to be, but he
yeah.
does it. I mean, he's doing it. He's been doing it. I mean, he started his Joe Lujan Productions. He started that in 2001. He
Wow.
changed it. He established his studio in 2011. Here it is, 2014, and he's still going strong. If not getting stronger.
Right.
And not only does films, he also does music videos for artists. I know that in the past he worked with an artist named Chris Ivan, um, that I know of. I'm sure it's been many more since then.
Right.
And he's been balancing. A place for quite a while, and new movies are coming out. I know that he did a recent release, like some of the movies that are coming out. The one I'm really looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to not only Rust 3, but I'm actually looking forward to Obscura as well.
Of,
And
of
Obscura looks good. Obscura looks really good.
yeah.
It
We should.
has, it has that Predator vibe to it, but I'm down with that, because who doesn't love Predator?
Yeah.
Um, hey Kyle, how are you? How are you? Glad you're here, sir. Glad you are here. Our guest will be here momentarily. Ooh, I gotta go see where he's at.
Hello, everyone. Just saying hello again.
Um, So now you finished your now when you and I talked not that long ago, you have mentioned that you mentioned your gangster movie that you just finished it out. Now so now now is this your first this is there he is. The doorbell has rang. Let's
Oh,
go get that's
excellent.
right. Let's go get Billy's best friend, Joe Lujan.
Excellent.
How's it going, guys?
Oh,
Woo!
yay.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, how's it going? How are you guys?
Coming.
Thank you for having me.
I realized that Grace and Joe, you guys know each other from Shockfest.
So
And
I know of him I'm him from Shockfest. Joe, I'm a host for Shockfest Film Festival.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and I was at the in-person event in December. You were not there. I was also there for the virtual. I
Okay.
hosting in the morning and I interviewed people. I did not interview you, but I did watch you in your panel.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Yes, I was watching. I might have commented a few times. And the reason why I'm here is because Patrick interviewed me a month ago about me and my acting. And he told me that you were going to be on here. And I said, oh my God, I know of Joe from Shockfest. And he said, cool, you want to come? I said, if you don't mind. Yeah.
that's
No,
right.
that's awesome. That's so
And
cool.
now we're here. But this is all about you.
No, this is
Um,
awesome. Thank you for having me.
and like I said, and I'll say it again, I'm really deeply sorry that it's taken me this long to get you here. I
Oh,
feel
it's totally
ashamed,
fine.
I feel ashamed about that. Quite honestly, I really do. It's like, I mean, you helped us so much when we had you on the midnight hour, a few years ago, and you helped us get our show up and running. When you came out when you came and
Wow,
guested
thank
on
you.
it. And that show's still talked about. I still talk about that show all the time
That's
because
awesome.
you were so badass. You answered all of our questions because we put you through the ringer. We put you through the ringer that night, and it's like between you and Brendan Slago, I mean, you two guys are not afraid to answer anything about your art. I mean, you ask it, people ask it. I mean, it could be the most off the wall, it could be the most inflammatory, it could be the most mundane question, but you two guys are awesome at answering, no matter what the
Thank
question.
you. I
Um,
appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. It's been a while. I
it's been
don't
a long
when
time.
was that? I don't remember when that was.
I think it was like almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was like 2019 or 18, something like that
Yeah.
maybe.
Hobbs is still in the chat. He can tell us when that is, and I'm also going to put a link down beneath us afterwards. And if you guys want to go check out that first interview, you'll be able to do that. But holy cow, Carcass Studio, hot! What's going on with you guys?
Oh man, it's been crazy and fun. Really busy, really busy. Um, where do I start? I think the last time I was on with you guys, I want to say I was probably promoting. I don't know what I was promoting then. I don't know what I was promoting then. I've
I think
done.
I think we were talking
I'm
about Immortal Wars.
I'm trying to keep count of what I've done these past couple years, but I'm gearing up to release. We actually have the world premiere for the next Immortal Wars in about 2 weeks from today. So we're really excited. A little nerve wracking, but really excited for people to finally see. This is the fourth installment, so it's really exciting. Um, and then I have another film called My Little Nightmare that is also, I believe, if it hasn't, it is about to be released on Apple TV. It's called My Little Nightmare. It's a ghost story. That's more in the horror genre, as well as Rust 3, also, I believe, is going to be hitting Apple TV, or it already has. I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to think what else. I
When's
have a lot of
when's
projects.
when's Obscura coming out?
I don't know. As far as that project specifically, I signed on to direct, um, but I didn't edit the film, or I did edit a cut of it. It's just, yeah, that's a long story, but I don't know, to be honest with you. Maybe this year, hopefully, people could see it, but I'm not sure when there's a projected release date for that. Not yet.
Yeah. Now, My Little Nightmare. One of the most coolest things about your films is they're all in the multiverse. Every film is connected to every film that you created is connected into your universe. Is My
Yeah,
Little Nightmare also connected?
it is. And we probably didn't talk about it the last time we spoke, but so now I have two cinematic universe, parallel universe. We have the Ravage Rain universe, which is all the comic book films like the Immortal Wars and all those films. And then I have now what I call the Dark World. The Dark World is what consists of all the Rust films, a Telephobia, My Little Nightmare is a part of it, as well as Billy. I want to say that My Little Nightmare is probably the one film that connects all of them together. So when you watch My Little Nightmare, you will see how Rust comes into play and how Billy comes into play.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's the
I was,
one film that kind of connects it all together.
I was, I was
Believe it or
telling
not, yeah.
Grace how I was telling Grace how you managed to do that within Immortal Wars. We're sitting there
Yeah.
watching the news, and there's underneath there scrolling is the information about Billy. It's like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
connected. It's so neat. How do you keep your universes going? I mean, without how do you keep this plate spinning?
Um, Honestly, it just pops into my head. Honestly, the Dark World has consist of those films I had mentioned, but there's also another film called Lost Souls. That's kind of like where my monsters collide because the killer from Rust and the killer from Atelophobia both come out in that, as well as Billy. Billy comes out in that film as well. Um, Believe it or not, both killers go like in this like fighting Mortal Kombat style type of scene. So it's kind of cool to see the movie monsters clash in that film. I'm trying to think of what other films kind of fall in that because I kind of introduce one character and then that character will slowly go away. Then I'm like, oh, well, what if we make a film on that character? And then there's this new monster that comes out, and it's kind of how I go when I create this universe. Uh, for those who have seen Billy, the short film, the feature film comes out later this year, but the short film, um, they see how the ending of the Rust character, the main character of Rust, you finally see how it ends. Um, she doesn't get killed by a cannibalistic killer; she gets killed by a doll. So it kind of, it kind of connects the universe. You kind of see how when one character ends and one franchise ends, we start the next one, and then Billy will continue on when it comes to that. But when it comes to the universe, I kind of it just hits. It could be the smallest things too. How I connected. I have another film that I did for V Channels Media last year called The Harris, and The Harris is it's an anthology, but in like folklore characters, female folklore characters. So you have like La Llorona, Bloody Mary, the Tooth Fairy. Um, well, how I connected that in the universe is in one of the shorts in that film. One of the characters is a cop. Well, that cop was the one who went to the crime scene of Billy, and he talks about how there was a character who died. So it's kind of I'm connecting the universe even in that sense as well. So it continues that way.
It's ambitious as well. Um, what do you think about that, Grace? I mean, as an actor, um,
I
it's
was,
not something.
I was gonna say, I was gonna raise my hand. I was gonna say, this all comes out of your twisted mind.
Yeah,
Wow.
it does. Yeah, no, I this is my job. This is what I do on a day-to-day basis. Filmmaking is what pays my bills and how I survive. So
You're
all I think of is film.
you're
What was
living
that?
the dream. You're living the dream that a lot of filmmakers that start off as independent and work their way up. That's what they dream of. I think a lot of filmmakers want to create their own work rather than working for someone else, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. I think
Oh,
I'm definitely blessed and thankful for me to be able to be doing that. I'm living what I've always dreamt of doing. Obviously, I'm far from where I want to be. I definitely have some goals that I'm working on reaching in bigger scales, but I think I'm pretty I've gone pretty far, and I'm very thankful and blessed for that. So I
Yeah.
mean, when it comes to the ideas, they just come to me, and I'm like, I have an idea, and I come up with a concept. I'll pitch it to. Recently, I've signed with a distribution company,
Oh,
and I do original content for them. So I can simply call and be like, "Hey, I have an idea for this, and this is what I think we should do." And they're like, "All right, well, here you go. Here's the money. Let's make it." And we have about a month or two to shoot it, get it done, and delivered. That's kind of how it works.
A month?
Um,
A
about
month?
a
wow.
month, 2 months to finish it. Yeah.
You know,
That's
I'll be honest with you. Go ahead, Grace. Go ahead.
quick shooting. You shoot for less than a few weeks and then you have to edit.
Yeah, it goes straight into the editing process. Like
Yeah.
and obviously everyone knows editing is the more time consuming part of the filmmaking process. So when it comes to that, it's work. Like we were talking about it. I'm blessed and thankful that I'm living the dream, but it's not easy. It's a lot of
Mm.
work. It's I don't have a sense of weekends. There isn't really any time off.
Oh.
But I
Uh,
can't complain. Like I said, I'm living my dream. I'm doing what I love to do. But yeah, it's a lot of work.
what do you do? What do you do to prevent burnout?
Believe it or not, that has happened more frequently lately for me.
Uh,
Before, I would go and like binge watch my favorite films. Like I'll go and binge watch the entire series of Resident Evil or like Scream or I Know It's the Last Summer or Wrong Turn. I'll sit there and just watch them, right? Um, but lately, that doesn't work. Lately, my mind is always running. So like when I sit down and I want to sit down and watch something, I get either antsy or I don't know. I just have to get up and do something, and then I get back to the office and I start working on something. But I don't know. I really don't know how I kind of get through the whole burnout thing. Um, I keep on going.
Do,
yeah.
Yeah.
do you think by writing? Because I'm imagining you writing, and me and Grace were talking about this before you got here. How a lot of writers that sit down and they write a beginning, a middle, and the end. It's a standalone story.
Hmm.
But because you have a multiverse as you do, there is no beginning, there's no ending, there's a middle, but there's not. That's all
Yeah.
there is. That's got
And
to
it
be
keeps on
very
going.
hard. It's got to be very hard to write like that without with knowing that there is no going to be like they show the people. There used to be a gentleman named Steve Canal. He was a famous producer in the 90s and 80s, and
Hmm.
his logo at the end of his productions was showed him typing and then taking the last paper out of it and like it was the end. And for me, I'm
Oh,
thinking for yourself, I'm going like, there is that. There's none of that. You're just writing endlessly, because there's
yeah.
no closure. Have you thought about maybe closing some of the universes down a little bit, or maybe putting them aside and maybe doing a standalone just for that
I
sake of
have.
completion?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. And I have done a lot of standalone projects recently. Um, I will say, like with the Immortal Wars, that is coming to an end.
Aw.
Yeah, that will be coming to an end already. Um, it's
Well, you
funny though, like this year, I think marked 7 years since the first one came out, I believe. 7 or 8 years, I believe. And I was like, that's crazy. I feel like the first one just came out. um, so I do. I plan on ending things. Rust is coming to an end as well as the Immortal Wars is coming to an end. Trying to think of a Telephobia. We were going to continue it, but we decided to move in the route of a comic book. So the last installment of a Telephobia will be put in a I believe 4 part comic book series to see how that ends. So that's going to end as well. Um, and we're kind of ending everything within this year because yeah, I have a slate of I want to say 11 new films that I just signed that just got greenlit. So it's kind of like we need to end these chapters we have open right now while we're already working on the next set of projects. Yeah. So
And the
it's
next
it's
wow. The next
yeah.
will be for that distributor, I take it.
Yeah, yeah, actually. Yeah, I did sign a deal with them, so I'm really thankful for that.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was yeah. It's exciting. We have some pretty cool projects that just got literally greenlit about last Friday. Actually, we had a meeting and everything got greenlit. So it's
Wow.
really fresh. So right now we're in the pre-production, say like pre-production. But I believe we start the new film middle of March. Actually, we break ground in production. So really excited. Yeah.
Joe, can I just say you worked with my friend? That's my really good friend, Matt Ross Valley.
Oh well, yeah, he's in the Immortal Wars.
That's so when I saw his poster, I said, "Oh my God."
He did really good. He plays the
Jupiter.
character of Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter.
Yeah.
Where can I watch this?
So that's the Immortal Wars The Case Paradox. That's the new one. So we're having the big red carpet premiere in Vegas on the 27th.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll be having that at the Palms Casino and Resort in the theaters there. And I'm trying to figure out of doing like a mini press tour, maybe doing a few theater screenings. We're still trying to work that out. But I do believe that the film should be hitting streaming services in the summer, I believe.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that one should be, yeah, that was a fun, like I said, this new Immortal Wars, it's a fun project. It is a prequel setting the stages up before the first Immortal Wars. But I'm trying to see, I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, it's a villain film, if that makes sense. We're gonna see now the story of the villains.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, like this. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, what does it feel like? What did it feel like when you did Oscura? What did it feel like being a director for hire versus a studio owner who also, basically owned the property, the IP? What did it feel like? Was there a big difference between you knowing full well where the story was going, you controlling it 100%, versus someone who came in there and says, "We want you to go film our project," yet that you don't have the total creative freedom that you do when you normally work by yourself. What was that like for you, working on that?
Well, originally it was a more of a collaboration type of project, because originally Obscure was supposed to be part of the Ravage Rain universe. It was supposed to, we were going to focus this film. It was supposed to be the first like rated R creature horror installment in the universe. We're going to focus on a specific character. But things happen and things shift throughout production. And so the reason I'm saying that is because when it started, it did start with me being involved with a lot in trying to come up with, what route we were going to go with. But then when things started shifting, it started turning to where like I'm just directing, and that's it's not a part of the universe anymore. It's an own character. It's not going to be involved. That we don't even include it anymore in the universe. And it was fun. It was a lot of work. We did shoot back out in Goldfield, Nevada. So it was fighting the elements, working against the elements and stuff. It was challenging. But it was a fun project. We shot this about 4 years ago now. 4 years ago now.
Was it that long ago?
3 or 4 years ago now. Yeah, it's been a while. So like I said, I really don't know. I did do a little VFX on a certain scenes, but then I haven't heard anything since. So it's like, I don't know where it's going or what's going to happen. But I was thankful to be a part of it, and collaborate and meet all those people. But yeah.
So you mentioned about the new deal where you're going to be, shooting and editing and putting out a movie within a month. I know. Up until 2 weeks ago, if someone would have told me that you would be filming a movie this month and it would be coming out next month, I would have said that's absolutely insane. But
I'll be honest, it won't be coming out next month. It just needs to be delivered, because there's a process. Once it's delivered, then the distribution company starts working on sending it out to all the platforms. That can take 2 months. That could take 3 months. That could be 4 months. I know, like with the Case Paradox, the new Immortal Wars, that was delivered back in, I want to say October or November, and it's not coming out till the summer. So
but they are doing that now, because I have a friend of mine who's shooting her very first feature. It's her first feature film. It's going to be her featured film debut. And I thought when I heard this, I thought it was mistaken, but it's true.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, she's making her movie. She started it in February. It's coming out on the network that it's on. It's coming out March 23rd.
That's awesome.
March 3rd.
I'll be honest, I wish it was like that with some of the projects we do, because a lot of actors are like, when can we see it? When can we see it? It's like, I don't know. Like, it's delivered. I don't know when they have the release date. I wish it would be that fast on certain projects. My Little Nightmare was delivered back in July of last year. No, not even. I want to say it was like February of last year. About a year ago, actually. Now it was delivered, and it's barely going to come out. So it kind of depends on what's also in trend. I know, like, if they have like something that's in trend, they're going to push that first. That'll come out first before they, release something else. So,
oh gosh, that's crazy. Grace, I was gonna ask you, what kind of questions does an actor like yourself? What kind of questions do you ever ask a director like Joe? Like, if you're on set and you have questions, what kind of questions do you ask?
Before we start filming, usually me and my directors and all the actors, we have a group meeting and we talk about each scene. We go into specifics sometimes, what the director's looking for, and then that's before we film, and then we just go in and film it. And if the director cuts and has a change, then you change it on the spot. If you improvise, add some lines, be prepared for that. As an actor, be prepared for that. I know my best work has been from I'm laughing, me improvising stuff, because once you really get into the character, that comes out naturally. So you just tell the director, if you're a good actor, which majority of actors, let's just say they are good, you will take whatever the director gives you, and you won't have anything to say back. If the director wants to go a completely different way in the last minute, then you do it. Do talk about it beforehand, but expect the unexpected.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Way I work when I work with actors, it's more of I have the script, the description, everything's there. We do table reads. We'll break down the script, do table reads, all of that stuff. And then when it comes to production, things happen. Things may not go as planned, or what's happening a lot frequently that's insane to me is there's a lot of actors who, in a sense, don't take it serious. They think it's more of like, I'm just in front of a camera and I'm gonna read what's on a paper. And then when it comes to days that are long and stuff, there's a lot of complaining, or sometimes there's even actors that don't even show up, they cancel. When that happens, a lot of the time our sets are already paid for. A lot of our time, everyone's already on set. There's no way to cancel and no one show up. So what I do is I cut the roll. You're completely out of the film. I can't cater to that. If you don't take it serious, like all of us who are here taking it serious. So when that change is made, all the actors then have to prepare, like, all right, now we're scrapping all of those lines. That character doesn't exist. We're now moving this route. And then you have to adapt. And to me, that's what makes a great actor. It's like, okay, I studied it this way. I know what this is. There's this big change. Now this person does not exist in the story. Where do I go from here? I'm doing it this way. This is the route we're going. There's even been a time where I changed a character that probably came in like twice. It was like a roommate in some script that I wrote. It was a roommate, and that actor didn't show up for day one. But we had all the dates scheduled. We had everything going. So I turned the character into a cat. So instead of the person would still say the lines. The person would still say the lines, but it was a roommate. It's a cat. The other role didn't really have much of a dialogue, so I cut those lines and I go, "You're talking to your pet cat that lives in the house with you,"
Genius.
and the actor was like, "Okay," so it
Well,
worked totally fine that way.
oh,
So,
Joe, I'm sorry you've worked with unprofessional actors that haven't showed up on set. I've, we all
Yeah.
try to work with professionals. Sometimes it happens. And I don't want to be mean. I mean, maybe there's events that we don't know about, but your work is your work, your job. And this is fun. We're in this business because we love it and it's fun. But we have to remember people are getting paid and it's not all about you. This is a community. Yeah, you might be the star of the film if you're the lead actor, but you got to think about everyone else. So it's tragic when I hear stories like this. I mean, I've heard a big budget show. I won't say it. The lead actor didn't show up and he cost them like $30,000 for the day.
Yeah. And see, with us, when we're doing smaller projects that do not have budgets like that, we can't afford to lose amounts like that. There's no way, that can affect negatively across the board to everybody, I won't say which project it was, but there was a project specifically that I had the hardest time with actors and scheduling. These actors were not cooperating with us. They weren't, they just weren't working with us when we were getting all the schedule and everything going. So there was one day where the actors didn't show up and we had paid for a nightclub. Like we paid for the crew to be there.
Oh my
like it opened my eyes up to a lot. I'm one to, I like to give everyone chances and I like to give everyone opportunities because I wasn't given that, when I was starting off. So when I'm approached by someone and, they show me that they're very interested in stuff, I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah. Let's see what we could do. You want to roll, we'll see what we could get you in and stuff. But then when they start pulling stuff like that, it's like, like, I guess, kick myself a little. Cause I'm like, that's what I get for being too nice sometimes. But
no, but it's a face because they might be thinking, oh, well, this isn't like a huge job. I won't get hurt. But like, screw you. A job is a job. Like, I feel like I've actors that don't take independent movies seriously. It's like, you got to work what you want.
That, and what I'm also noticing is more of the support. A lot of, I'm running into a lot of individuals who they won't support a project if they're not involved with it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm not in it, so why am I going to go see it? Or I'm not in it, why am I going to simply like a post or stuff like that? Where I'm like that sucks. Like we should be supporting each other in the community, and like if we were all, big, the Brad Pitts and Angelina Jolies, we wouldn't be posting on Facebook like this, and you know what I mean? Like it kind of blows my mind to see how certain individuals are. Where I'm like, it's art. We're all collaborating. We're bringing something together. You have a small part, big part. You're a part of it. You're credited on it. Share it, support it, or if you don't, you have a friend, but we know each other or something, but then you don't share it or post it. It's like, it's stuff like that. It's just, you start to filter out those who are true to it and those who are just in it for other reasons.
Well, you know what? If someone ever gives you trouble again, you just, you won't hire them.
Yeah. It's happened a lot frequently. But
let me catch up on the chat real quick. Let me catch up on the chat real quick because we've been it's been flying since you guys have been talking. So I just want to say everybody just come on in. I see Sarah's here and Chadwick, a peer of yours, a directing peer who put his first film Malcolm was released last year. All came in. Our good friend, the Horror Cat Dad. He's also a cat fan like I am, so he's cool with thinking that you use the cat, change the character into a cat. He says, man, that stinks for actors to be that way. Yeah, Larry, it happens a lot more than we realize. He also says you had me at Cat Joe. Yeah. I'm already starting to. I'm already going to start sending my. I'm going to send you my audition reel for the cheetah. Hobbs is mentioning the fun fact that we had you on episode 13 of the Midnight Hour. You were our first male celebrity guest. That's right.
Oh wow.
Let's
Thank
see.
you.
Larry says, facts, Grace, you're right.
Oh,
And that's crap that happens. That's really crappy what you said about the support. That
Yeah.
blows me away. I mean, I don't get that at all. But you know what? That does let me talk. Because that to me that sort of opens the door for something else um, that we discovered since you and I talked, and that is it's the prevalence of pay to play. That seems to be happening so much now.
Yeah.
It used to be once in a while you would see a film production do a go, like a social, a GoFundMe or Indiegogo. Now it seems like anytime someone does anything, that's what they're doing. They're not going through the old routes of getting financing for their product for their project. Before meeting with financiers or investors or what have you. Now they just go ahead and say we're just going to do Indiegogos, and they're going to
Yeah.
bypass. And I think then next thing you know, now we're seeing non-actors that are paying money for roles that they're not qualified for, but they're only getting because they pay $1,500 for.
Yeah.
And I think it affects the quality of the project. And I think do you think it help? Do you think actors get embittered when they lose parts that they've earned through auditions? And next thing you know, they're being told like, "Hey, you're supposed to be the leading man in this movie, but now you're the waiter in the cocktail scene because Joe Smith paid $30,000 to be in the role."
I think so. I mean, I personally think that actors, I guess it kind of falls into any line of business. Like if someone who studies their craft and and got a degree or goes to acting classes or whatnot, whatever the case is, that they put the effort in it and they audition, they notice they don't get the role, which happens a lot. That's okay. You have the next one coming. But then they find out that the one who did get the role is someone who was an executive producer who put money into it. It then kind of feels like, so then I have to buy my way into this industry. I have to buy my spots. I have to purchase my spots. To me, I would feel, a little, I think personally, this is my just personal opinion. I'm not speaking for anyone, but I personally would be like, that's pretty messed up. Like I'm working on my craft. Like I've busted my ass doing what I have to do to know my craft. And then to see that someone who isn't seasoned at all, doesn't really know the first thing or anything like that, then they get a spot just because they put money in it. Yeah, I think that definitely that would that would piss me off. Sorry.
No, no, no.
um, but believe it or not, though, I see that a lot in this industry. I'm starting to notice it a lot. I see. Try not to name drop or put things together because if not, I'm going to get crap for it.
It's okay. It's okay. We got your
If
back.
if there's been certain cases that where I've kind of been like, I see a certain individual who's working with the big company, Lionsgate or something. They're doing a movie for someone like that, and I sit there and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I mean, congratulations to them. And then I go and sit down and watch some of their work and stuff, and I'm like, damn, like I know I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I know my work is good. I'm very proud of my work. I'm not the best, but I'm not where I was when I first started. But then I can't get opportunities like that. I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong? Like what am I missing when it comes to getting to do a movie for like Lionsgate or something? I must be
Again,
missing something,
yeah,
you know?
you're getting the public to finance you without you having to return that money.
I mean, yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed that I've never done a campaign. I've 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 done the process of pitching a film, putting a pitch deck and putting it together and explaining and literally showing these investors my vision, what it's going to look like, how it's going to come to be, all that. And thankfully, I've been blessed to be able to show investors this is what I could do, and I can deliver, and I can execute what I'm showing you guys. And when it comes to V channels, I mean, they've believed in me since I've met them, and I ran into them. Believe it or not, I met them at a convention where I was a guest at.
wow.
I want to say it was Days of the Dead, maybe. Um, I was a guest there. They came up to my booth. We introduced. We had lunch a week later. I was about a month, I was already working on the first film for them. It happened so quick to where it's like I built a great relationship with them, but I make sure not to slack in the sense of when I have a new project, yeah, I could call and be like, hey, I have an idea. I have a concept. Okay. They already know they're going to be getting an email either that day or the following day with a whole pitch deck for that project. I'm going to explain everything. I'm going to make mock-up artwork. I'm going to show them this is what the product can look like. And that's kind of how I work when it comes to making these films. You know, I do have colleagues that do campaigns, but from what I've been told is that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have time for that. I really don't. Yeah. I barely have time to breathe.
We have a question for you, Joe. Question for Joe. First, good to see you. Again, this is Hobbs. He's one of the guys that we were on the first show. He was the showrunner. And second, says good to see you. And second, where did the idea of telephobia come from? It was very original.
It's a long answer. I'll make it short. It is actually based off of experiences I went through in high school. I was bullied very bad. I have not said this in a very long time. It's so weird that I'm saying it now. I was bullied very bad in high school. Very, very bad. And I kind of wanted to use my experiences and trauma in a sense of I don't want to say it because I don't want to encourage people to do this, but get my revenge on those who harmed me and who did wrong to me. The best way I could do it was putting it in my art. So it was like my artistic revenge, you know. So I kind of came up with the concept, all about beauty, all about not feeling good and confident and doubting yourself. And I used that in art, and I made a film off of that. And of course, the film is pretty extreme. There's like scalping happening and all that, because that was just for the story. That was not something that I envisioned myself doing. I would never do something like that. But it was just, I did it so that I could do it for the art. But that's where the concept came from. It came from experiences from high school. And yeah, I have not seen a telephobia in probably about 10 years, believe it or not. Yeah. When I finish a film, I don't like to watch it. I move on to the next one. Yeah, when I'm editing, I watch it over and over and over to where I'm like, I cannot stand this film. I'm done. We're moving on. Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe you can put it away for a year, then come back and rewatch it.
No, I can't. I can. It's a lot of it has to do because I'm so hard on myself. I'll sit there and I'll watch it and I'll be like, oh, I know a new technique for this, or I know I could do this. I'm going to go back and fix it. I'm going to go and tweak it up. And yeah, I'm really bad at that. So I kind of stopped doing that so that I can move forward, you know, even for premieres. Like when I have a premiere and there's like a big screening and all that, I don't sit in the theater ever. I will go and do my intro and I'll go outside. I'll go, you know, get something to eat. I already know, okay, it's going to be done in like an hour or so. Then I'll go back, do a Q&A. I never sit in the theater and watch the film.
No, Johnny Depp does that.
Who?
Johnny Depp.
Oh, does he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I heard a fun fact. He doesn't go in to watch his movies. Never does. Doesn't like to see it. Doesn't care.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I did the film. It's delivered. You know, producers are happy. I did my job. Moving on. I don't want to see it again. And I'm
right.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you as a performer, Grace? Do you ever go back and look at yourself?
I don't mind. I'll watch myself. I mean, I'm there. Might as well sit and watch. Do I like it? I mean, yeah, it's weird, but you know, you get used to it. I don't think I'm at the point of my career where I don't think it'll be a good look if I just show up and did the interviews and left. No, I think I should stay there and watch and enjoy. It's weird hearing your voice. Many people don't like hearing their voice. It's true. Also, the camera adds 10 pounds to you. Everyone knows that. So I'm probably not liking how I look, but you know what? I'm there for the experience and I'm proud of what I did. So yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's kind of do it. But I feel like I get what you're saying with that. Like, you see, we always point out our flaws, you know, and I could just imagine for an actor when you see yourself on camera, like if I'm like that when I see my work on the screen, you know, that's why I'm like, oh, I don't like that grading, or oh, that sounded like shit, or you know, stuff like that, where I'm like, I can just imagine an actor being like, oh, I don't like the way I look, or the angle wasn't that good, or yeah, so I totally get that.
Actors, we're all secretly insecure. It's just something that happens because we take ourselves so seriously, I guess. But we got to stop.
Yeah.
Steven says, can you tell Joe that I love the Immortal Wars franchise? Eric Roberts and Bill Obrist Jr. Wow. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, wow.
your casting is great.
Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you.
because I actually had a young actor. I'm sure you'll know the name. I think you know it's been 4 years, but I had an actor on and we talked. His name was Tyler Gallant, and he worked
Oh,
on
yeah.
Obscura. Oh yeah,
He's an
he had
Obscura.
nothing. Yeah, he had nothing but praise for you.
Really? Oh, I love
Yeah,
that guy. He's such a sweet guy. Yeah.
yeah,
Phenomenal actor. He's a
he
great
is.
actor.
He
Yeah.
is. I
Yeah,
tell him.
hopefully we
I
can
tell
work
him.
together again. Yeah.
Oh, I would love to see whatever you guys can collaborate with. Did you get a chance to see that movie, Space Wars?
I did. Yeah, I did. I actually I went to go buy a copy when I found out it came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal film.
Yeah, it was a
I
fun
told
film
him,
to
you know, I
watch.
like you, Tyler, but I'll never go nowhere with you.
and I
He played a he true. Now I was going to ask you my question about writing. To me, how do you write your stories, knowing that like we talked before about it being open ended? It's a different mentality, I think, than sitting down and writing a complete story. So how do you do that, and how do you know which, like when you do you have like crib notes right by you saying that you have to hit certain points, like you have to connect different universes and different
Mm,
characters? That's got to be it's just an insanely amount of work to do whenever you're writing a script. um
believe it or not, though, it just comes to me. So I don't write like the way I write is it's kind of funny. My family laughs at me for it. But so I learned in school how to write stories was like the web, where you do like a bubble and you write something and it links to the other one and you go clockwise. That's how I write my scripts at first. That's how all my scripts start. So I'll do it that way. I write it that way. And then when I start going in and fleshing it out and actually typing it in script form, I'm like, okay, at this point, I could bring in Heather from Rust. She's going to step in here. He's a lawyer. He's representing her. Now, okay, now Rust is now involved with this universe. That's kind of how I go when I write scripts. So when I'm fleshing it out, writing scripts, I'm like, a character has to walk in. There has to be some interaction with someone here. He's a lawyer. All right, well, this girl just survived one of the most heinous crimes in the world. The killer was never found. She needs a lawyer. All right, we're going to have Heather. We'll bring in this actor in now that I connected the universe that way. That's kind of how I write my scripts. It just kind of clicks sometimes. That's kind of
do
how I
you
do it.
write do you I don't I don't think I asked this question before, but do you write to cast? Do you write with an actor in mind to the character you create?
Not all scripts. I do, like if I have a specific actor that I want to bring into a project or something like that, then yeah, I will. Like I did that for Tom. For Tom Sizemore, I did that for the Immortal Wars. Originally, that character he had like there wasn't even a dialogue at all for that character. It was just like a character I was just throwing in there. But when I knew that I was gonna be able to cast Tom, I was like, oh, okay, then that character, I need interaction, I need lines. Then I wrote the script and I added that character into the script. So that's kind of how I'll do it. Um, Not really necessarily do I do it a lot. It's rare that I do that. But I mean, it kind of depends per project. That's kind of how I go with it.
Let's see. Go ahead, folks, and go ahead and drop. If you have any questions for our guest, Joe, or if you have a couple of questions for Grace, please drop them down in the chat. We got Joe for about 10 more minutes only before he's got to run. So only 10 more minutes. Is that all right, Joe? We got you for 10, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
That's what happens when you're a studio head. You get called in production meetings all the time. So if you have any last minute questions for either Grace or Joe, please drop it. See, Joe, Steven says, does he do one word one. Let's see. Let's see if I can see this. Does he do one world web, or is it per character? Could you rephrase that for him? I'm slow on that one. Let's see. And then Steven has a question for you, Grace. Can Grace see herself as a Wonder Woman type for a fan film?
Oh, that's a really
I can see that.
so. Yes, I would love to be Wonder Woman. Love to be Wonder Woman. I will say I never, when Ana de Armas played Marilyn Monroe, that's a Latina playing Marilyn Monroe, like American blonde white beauty. That like changed the game for me. Because I never thought a Latina could do that. So now, as myself, I'm thinking like, holy crap! Like Latinas are going. I mean, we could do anything. I mean,
yes, Sasha Cali plays Supergirl in Flash.
Yeah. Yes, I do think throughout the years, Latinos have been getting more recognized in film. I do think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
More for us to go. I would love to see a Latino doctor, not a nurse. But no, nurses. Wait, nurses are
That's
fine.
true. I've never noticed that.
I don't want to bring down nurses, but I want
But
a Latina or a Latino to be the highest doctor in that mother effing hospital.
Wait a minute. Didn't Sarah Ramirez play the doctor on Grey's Anatomy?
Okay, I don't watch that show. I don't watch that.
Uh-oh.
My mom's not here for that show, so I never watched that show. I just want to see Latinos keep getting these, hard-hitting roles. And a lot of people might say, Grace, why does it so much matter about the ethnicity? It matters because not everyone was getting representation in the early years. So that's why it matters now. But I do think people of color are getting bigger and better jobs. So I just can't wait for the future. So when you asked me, Steven, about the Superwoman, oh yeah, I would love to do that.
We saw that with Blue Beetle that came out. That was the first time a superhero was led by a Latino, and then that was to me, it was like, other than Michael Keaton, but the best part of the Flash movie was Sasha Cali as Supergirl. I really liked her. I really did. I was thinking, I hope they bring that character back. Bring it back for Superman. I know James Gunn could do it. No, we got the comic book accurate Supergirl, but it's one of those rare times where I actually would have said, like, I'm okay with it not being, like straight from the comic books, because she established herself so well. I would like to see that character back, and so did a lot of people. A lot of people said that was the best part of the movie for him.
That was my favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Patrick, can I ask a question for Joe?
Sure.
Joe, do you like Robert Rodriguez?
I do. Oh my God, I love his work.
Of course. So like my mom being from Texas, Tex-Mex. I think I read you're from Texas.
Yeah, El Paso. Yeah.
Right. My mom's from San Antonio. Yeah, and Robert Rodriguez being from Texas. I mean, it's iconic what he's done. And what changed oh my God, I can't talk. Why I wanted to get into entertainment, first of all, is when my mom made me see From Dusk Till Dawn when I was really young. And when I saw Selma Hayek do that dance, it changed the game for me. And I don't even was I even alive? I don't know, but when I saw that movie when I was 8, like, it was not Disney Channel that made me want to become an actress. It was that movie. It was Selma Hayek.
That movie.
Add on to Steven's question. Yes, I would totally love to be Wonder Woman, but my main character is like that character. Selma Hayek. Like, I'd rather be a badass, sexy vampire killing people the whole goddamn movie than Wonder Woman. Because, it's more fun. But I'm saying that because I'm a horror junkie like Elvira. Like, I'd rather do a horror.
I can see you playing like a katana.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, katana.
I can see you playing like katana for Mortal Kombat. That'd be badass.
That would be wicked.
I want Angelina Jolie in her starring movie Laura Croft, and someone told me my chest wasn't big enough. I said, "Screw you."
Oh gosh.
No, but screw you. You don't have to have that. And this is back when Latinos weren't where they are today. But yeah, like a Laura Croft, Mortal Kombat, that's the stuff we need to do. So And
But
it'll
you're
come.
but that's one thing about you though, Joe. You do cast a lot of women in your movies. I mean, you cast a lot.
I do. Yeah. That's something that I liked. It's like I like to see badass chicks kicking ass. I'm a huge fan of like Underworld and Resident Evil.
Yeah.
That's kind of what got me. Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil, is what really made me decide to be a film director. I was going to be a
Wow.
veterinarian. I was kind of studying for being veterinarian then. That's what I wanted to do. But female, kicking ass, I've always just been that. To me, that's just badass. I've never really been a fan of even big movies that have lead male actors. I don't know. I mean, I'm fans of them, but I would just prefer seeing some chicks kicking ass. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something fun about that.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
was watching when I was watching the Avengers Endgame, and they're fighting, and it's like everybody was like everybody was cheering when Cap got Thor's hammer, and everybody's like, oh hell yeah. I thought it was more
Yeah,
exciting is when Captain Marvel went nose to nose with Thanos. No, that was
exactly.
exciting
Yeah,
to
you
me.
see
That
all
was
the
like
girls together, and it's like, oh, like this is just awesome. Yeah, I agree.
they beat the snot out of them, uh, which is always cool. And I dig that. I dig that. One question before we ask the last question, and which I'm going to lead the last question to you, Grace, whatever it may be. But
Oh,
tell me what it was like winning Director of the Year. You've been picking up, but you pick up awards, quite a few. You
Oh,
actually won
that.
a director. You've actually won a Director of the Year at Shockfest of all places. What's it like
Yeah.
when you get awarded a recognition for your hard work? How does that make you feel?
It. Um. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't do it for the awards. I do it more just because I love to do it. That's why I do this. But when even if being nominated to me, I'm like, I already won. With the nomination, I'm like, I'm going to treat this like I won. I Being a nominee is to me already a winner. It sounds cheesy, but that's just my mindset's always been like that. Growing up, I never won anything. It was always like that. I was always the one that was left out, or I would never win anything. So being older and doing this, and now I'm getting awards for like my art that I literally pour my blood, sweat, and tears in each project. It's a reminder. It's a reminder that it's worth it, because there's many times where I have thought maybe I should just. It's I'm killing myself doing this. You know what I mean? It takes a lot out of me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when I see that, like when I with Shockfest, short little story. I'll make it very short. When it came to Shockfest, when I first moved out to Las Vegas, it was Shockfest. I was always like, oh my god, that's an awesome event. Like I was still very, very green. I was had directed like 3 little short films. It was not I was barely starting off at that time. So when I was, seeing this on, I want to say it was even no, it was Facebook then, I think. Um, I was just like, this is cool. Like I want to be involved. That's a dream, to be involved with an event like that. And then when it came to I was a part of it one year. I was like, pinch me moment, right? It was like, oh shit, this is really happening. This is really cool. Like I'm actually now someone who's involved with this event. And then when it came to Billy, it was like the nominees came out. I was like, I'm nominated for best director. Like that's insane. Like I've never been nominated for best director ever, believe it or not. That was the first time ever I was nominated for best director. Um, and then seeing that I was nominated along with all these other filmmakers, other directors who directed feature films, to me was even more like, oh shit, like my short film is like nominated along these big guys. So that was a win. You know what I mean? I'm like, hell yeah, like I already won. I'll take it. This is awesome. And then when they did it's funny because if you go look back at the video of when they announced the winner, I actually start crying, believe it or not.
No,
I
I
actually
believe it.
started crying. And I had one of my close friends behind camera looking at me, and they told me, stop, don't do that. They're like, don't cry on camera. Because I'm an ugly crier. So they were just like, don't do it. Like, say something else. And they were like freaking out. So I kind of snapped out of it right away. And that was just like it was just a reminder. And I was actually in a very dark place at that time. So when I won, yeah, it was just a reminder, like, keep going, let's keep on going. And then last year I won, My Little Nightmare won Best Cinematography.
Mm.
And it was just like, oh shit. Like, it's blessings after blessings, and I know it may sound cheesy and stuff, but I'm living my dream in a sense to where I can't complain. And I'm just thankful that I'm able to do it.
Grace,
Why did it get so serious, you guys?
yeah. I'm actually gonna let Grace ask the last question of the show, and because I know she'll come up with a great one. And I just want to say thanks to the chat here for hanging out with us. This has been a lot of fun,
Yeah, thank
Grace,
you for having me.
I'm so sorry it took so long.
It's okay.
I'm gonna cry. Grace, go ahead and send us out on a great question.
Okay. I guess my question piggybacks off what you just said and what you said in the beginning. When you said you want to do more with your career, of course, we all do. But when will you feel like you've made it? It's a complex question, but like,
it is.
How far do you want your career to go where you will sit down having your breakfast in the morning and think, yep, I made it? Because someone like me, it seems like you've done so much, but you want to do more. Like, so what else?
I do.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I want to keep going till I can't anymore. That's first and foremost. But I think the moment I feel like I'll be able to sit down and say I made it is when I'm able to, because there's always been something I promised myself, even when I first decided I was going to be a film director, was I was always going to take care of my parents, and I wanted to get them out of work. So I think that feeling of fulfillment of I made it, that would probably be the moment where I'd be like, okay, I made it. Paying off my parents' house, getting them off of work. What a lot of people don't know is that I involve my family with a lot of my projects. My mom helps me with costumes and props. My dad helps me with sets and props. So I always said, once I get my full-blown production company going and we've become a whole production house, like even my mom and dad are like, we want to be there. We'll be right next to you. We'll be doing it. They don't have to worry about working and obviously we're still gonna be working, but 8 to 5 jobs, and they can enjoy their lives that they put on hold when they had all me and my 4 siblings. It's like I feel like they're still working and we still enjoy life. Things are great. It's beautiful. I love my family. It's just, I want to see my parents travel more. I want to take them to travel. I think that's the moment I'm going to be like, okay, I made it. I could buy myself a house later. I could buy, all the big things that we all dream of. We want a mansion, all that stuff. Yeah. But to me, I could be without the mansion and the expensive cars as long as I can take care of my parents. That's kind of always been my thing since day one. So I think that'd be, I know it's probably not the answer people were thinking of, but that's always been kind of.
No, actually, I think knowing you as we do, I think it's the answer we expect. I think anything else would have surprised me. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's always been my motto. Everything I'm doing this for my family. All this is for my family, my nieces, my nephews, my siblings, and my mom and dad. More than anything, yeah.
Beautiful, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, boys and girls, that was going to wrap up our interview, our show tonight. Tomorrow night, I'll tell you real quick what we have coming up for the rest of the week. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we will be sitting here with Corin Nemec. He will be here and talking all things about Corin Nemec, which there is a lot of. And then Saturday at 9 p.m., we are having our first director's commentary watch-along. For 8 Questions With, as we will be joined by Joe Cornett and a sort of cast members and crew members. We will be watching a gunfight at the Rio Bravo, and that will be next Saturday, this Saturday at 9 p.m. Now, I didn't get a chance to do the calendar, so let me tell you what's coming up next week, because I know you guys all want to know. You guys all want to know what's coming up. On the 20th, we will be talking with filmmaker Mia Holly Kim will be here with us at 8 p.m. on the 20th. On the 21st, we welcome in director and studio owner Brandon Rhines from Higher University will be here with us on the 21st. And then on the 22nd, we will be joined by metal sculptor Greg Scorpion from Scorpion Metals. Holy crow, that guy's amazing. His art is amazing. And he will be here with us a week from tonight. Thank you guys all in the chat. Appreciate it. Grace, thank you for being the perfect hostess. Co-host.
you.
This is a lot of fun. We're gonna do it again. Joe, I can promise you one thing. If I can promise you anything, I'll promise you one. It won't take me another 400 shows to have you come back.
No, anytime you want me, let me know. I will jump on. Just let me know.
At 10:30, don't forget, after we're out of here at 10:30 over on Hobbs Horrors channel, the midnight hour will be taking place. That's right, they're still alive, they're still kicking. I don't know what they're doing tonight, but I do know they will be doing, and that will be at Hobbs Horrors channel. So and if any and all information about social media for both Grace and Joe will be down in the description box down below. Let's see. Yes. Thank you so much. And stay right where you're at. And for everybody else, I'll say good night. Peace.
Bye.